Okay, good. It's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today.
Amazing. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Me too. So let's begin our journey into your work by asking you this. 5 years ago, this pandemic was changing all of our lives. How did you get through the pandemic of 2020, and how is it extended into your life in 2025?
Okay, so the pandemic was really awful for me because my main source of income was selling my artwork. I had started selling my artwork. It just like the universe woke me up and told me I needed to paint, and that is what I started to do. And I was selling abroad to the US mostly. I was selling to Canada. I sold to Australia even. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, I'm building my dream with my passion. And then the pandemic hit, and I wasn't able to ship anything
Wow.
overseas. And like, I did not have an audience in Poland, and the few people who were interested were not interested in my prices. They were prices for, in euros or dollars, not for the Polish culture. And so I sold zero, zero for quite some time. I had some amazing, loyal clients who did make a deposit and who did do some payments, saying that once I can ship it, then they're ready. They're willing to wait. So I was supported in that sense, but it was definitely not enough. And so it got me thinking really creatively on. I have 7 cats, so
Oh, I
they
love
will
it.
be making
I
their cameos.
I love cats.
Okay. So it got me thinking creatively about how I could maybe reassess my business, reassess what I'm doing and how I'm helping people so that I can, provide for my 18 animals. So that was actually my biggest motivator was my animals. The first couple days, I had some waves where I was like, oh, this isn't working. Oh, I just give up, just burn everything down, burn everything down. But I allowed myself to like sit in those emotions, which is something that I've been learning is very necessary to sit and feel the pain so that I can release it and I can think clearly. And so I actually started teaching more English lessons online. And then it developed into horse lessons online and connecting with your horses. So I was able to connect with people, like-minded people. I was still able to help people develop, help people see the light even, and be inspired to continue. And honestly, it was a beautiful journey that transpired for me, even afterwards, and everything that developed afterwards.
So, like serendipity. So, let me ask you this. If I was to get a handle on exactly what you do for a living today, I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds at career day, and the kid in the back of the room is curious and is like, what do you do for a living? How would you answer that child?
I would answer that child by saying, I help people find happiness in a nutshell. I help people be who they truly are. And the way that I do that is by connecting them with horses, talking with them around horses, and allowing the horse to be the teacher to show them who they are. Because, in my opinion, in my whole life, this is my experience, I have been performing. I've been performing, people pleasing, trying to do what's asked of me. And that has carried me into some really dark places. And it is a painful place to be in, especially when you don't have community. So I want to help people see how they can live their best life, their happiest life, their most authentic life, fulfilled life by getting in touch with themselves. And horses, cats too, but
Yes.
horses truly are a mirror of what's going on. And because I'm so connected with my horses, I know each of their stories. By their little micro movements, behavior signals, I'm able to ask this person that I'm working with the questions that they need to be asked that they were never asked in their life to really get some clarity.
So, what did you want to be at 12 years old? What was your dream job?
I wanted to be a veterinarian for
Okay,
horses specifically.
there you go. So, you're living the dream. So, how did this love of animals and horses, how did all of this in the beginning kind of take hold and become who you are today to find your footing and to find your voice?
This is such a difficult question for me to answer in a nutshell because there were so many steps and synchronicities that had to happen in order for me to be at this point. But basically, my life revolves around my horses. Um, so much so that it brought me to a country where I didn't speak the language. I'm still learning the language because a horse that I fell in love with on vacation was for sale. So I sold everything and left. I left my family. I left my friends. Sold my car, just everything. And I started listening to my gut because when I was listening to other people, like my parents, my family, friends, teachers in elementary school, it started in elementary school that, I need to be realistic. I was good at art, I was good at dance, kind of, but I wasn't good at anything else. And it made me really doubt myself, doubt the value that I bring to my family, this planet, um, and even made me feel like I didn't want to be here anymore. But then there was some point, where I was homeless for a period of time, and I thought, like, this is not working. Everything that I'm listening to these people, it's not working for me. So I'm going to listen to my heart and where horses are leading me, not where successful people are leading me, because in my eyes, they aren't successful. They're just, following a program. And I wanted to follow where the horses were taking me. So I went to Poland, and that was like the first huge jump that I did, listening to my gut and my intuition. And it upset quite a few people in my family. And I lost a couple friends as well because everyone thought I was a complete idiot. I don't speak the language. I don't really have anything. I went to go for this horse. I sold everything, and my dad helped me get this horse. But I didn't have the money for anything else. No job over there in Poland. But I was just like, I'm just gonna wing it. And because of this, that was like the big step, and then everything just kept falling in line to lead me here. And looking back on it, looking back on these challenges, I'm so grateful because in the moment, I think this is really shitty. Like, no one's talking to me anymore. I don't know the language. I can't connect with people. I can't even freaking send a letter, to the one friend who will talk to me because I don't know how to ask for an envelope. And it was just a struggle. But I see how I needed that struggle to like a ping pong ball, almost like to like, no, guy, this way, this a little bit more this way,
Yeah,
until I figured it out. And I really see my mission, how it's evolved from just helping horses to helping horses and humans who are hurting.
yeah.
And I have a 6 horse barn here. I'm starting my retreats, but I really have this huge dream that I want to build and grow to be able to rescue horses, have people who may not have any experience with horses at all, but they're hurting. They've tried the therapy, they've tried the pills, they've tried the this, the that, and the hypnotherapy, and it's not working. And I want to show them how the horses can truly help them and potentially rehome these rescues with these people who don't necessarily need to ride. They just want to connect. They want a big puppy dog. They
Yeah.
want to face their fears, and they want a companion to sit there in the darkness with them. And a horse can do just that. And so, yeah, that's my mission.
Wow, that's wonderful. My son's on the autism spectrum. He's 20, but when he was younger, we used to do hippotherapy, and that was a
Mm-hmm.
really big therapy in the autism community. So it was wonderful. We had a time where he was really enamored with horses. I mean, he still likes them, but it was like at that time. In fact, we used to go down in the community I'm in. There used to be a donkey that was down the street, and his name was Ebenezer, and everybody loved him. He was like a rock star. And we used to go feed him on the weekends, and we set up. I made bumper stickers because he got really sick and he had to go to an animal hospital, and he ended up getting better. But it's that the community is very. It was very interesting. A lot of people rallied around that donkey, and the people that took care of him went to a donkey rescue and rescued a few from Colorado. So it's a great world for sure, and they're very therapeutic. So I'm curious on such a big, bold, courageous move to go to a whole other country to follow your dream. Who was that inspiration? Who was that heroic force that kept you positive, that has allowed you to be who you are today?
That is a really good question. I've never really thought about that. Um, because usually when I start my story, I start it 2 years after I come to Poland, but not during this time. I had this dream of a completely different dream, which is not in line with what I want now. But I had this dream of competing at a Grand Prix level, buying young horses in Poland, having my own barn in Poland, training them there, taking them to LA, and selling them. This is the kind of business that I wanted at that time. I just wanted to move up in my riding. And I was finally able to afford a horse that could take me to that level. I actually waited 6 years for him because I wanted to buy him as a foal, but they would not sell him. Luckily, he was for sale at the right time when I was ready to move because it was necessary for me to come to Poland and I was not ready 6 years earlier. So when he was for sale, I was like, this is my chance. This is my chance to go after my dream. And I thought it's a lot cheaper in Poland to train and go to horse shows. So that's what I'm gonna do. And my dad did support me, and my dad moved with me to Poland. He's from Poland, so he speaks Polish, and he helped me
Okay.
manage and navigate because I could only say, thank you and a couple of bad words, and that was the extent of what I could communicate in Polish. So he really helped me, but it was really tough. It was also tough making friends. I felt like it was all very surface level. It was also a completely different culture than LA, as you can imagine. Especially when I moved here, I didn't move to the city directly. I was on kind of the countryside. And so it was very lonely. Yes, I was around the horses, but in LA, I was used to being around a lot of people,
Yeah.
and here I wasn't. So that also was maybe like the first step in connecting with horses on a deeper level, not just I need to win this and get a trophy and be famous. And literally, my horse's name translated into English is famous. But it was more about I just want to be with you and hang out with you. And then if I could move into 2 years later, the universe was like, girl, you are not on your path. And so the universe literally bitch slapped me into a wheelchair. And I was in a wheelchair, and doctors told me I'd never ride horses again. So I went from, I'm going to do Grand Prix, I'm going to jump, a meter 45, a meter 50, I'm going to be training these horses to you're never going to ride horses again.
Yeah.
That was huge. And I typed in how to train a horse from a wheelchair. And I saw people doing it and I got inspired. And that's where I started, exercising. I was like, just, trying to open my fingers because my tendons and everything were just kind of shrinking and I was just shriveling
Yeah.
due to my lupus and fibromyalgia. I was inflated like a balloon. I looked
Yeah.
like an elephant. Everything was swollen. Even my jaw hurt to speak. Like I could not even speak. So it's just like trying to type in. And I thought, if they can do it, I can do it. The
Yeah.
number one person who really inspired me that I looked at her photo every single day, I read her story every single day was Amber Lee Snyder. They did a film on her on Netflix. When I saw it, I was so happy to see that her story finally got noticed on a big scale because if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I would have found the courage within me because
Yeah.
no one else supported me at that time,
Yeah.
other than my boyfriend. Okay, my boyfriend did.
Yeah.
But everyone else did not think that I would be able to get back on a horse again.
Wow. So what is the inspiration for you to get up every day to do this work? You've obviously, people have abandoned, they've given up and you've had to deal with all of that, but you have this vision. What is it that every day motivates you to do this work and to do it the best of your ability and also take care of your own soul?
Yes, it is transforming all the time. So at this point in time, it is to help horses that have been hurt emotionally or physically, horses that have endured trauma, help them to heal, and also humans as well, to help them to heal. Connecting those two beings who are hurt, who have been abused, who have not been seen, recognized, to get them together and to show them that connection is possible. And through that, to help them heal. And so I have rescued two horses. One has passed away, but he really inspired me getting out there and starting to get online and record myself because I used to be deathly afraid of hearing my voice. If my husband recorded anything with my voice on it, I would have a panic attack and I would just book it out the house and I just keep running until I could not breathe anymore. I was so panicked. But this horse, he really changed my perspective on everything. And I thought, wow, if this horse can overcome so much trauma within 2 years, he's like embodied Buddha. He was just so zen and so grounded and so happy despite having a halter being like grown into his nose. He was standing in his own feces. He was tied to a wall for over 4 months. He was just he just blossomed into this horse that I felt safe with, that I felt safe having kids around him, that he was just so like he had like invisible wings that would just like come and hug you and protect you, and you just felt this inner peace. And I thought, I want to teach people what I did with him to help him overcome that so that they will be empowered to rescue more horses, because I'm only one person and I can't rescue, all the horses in the world. But if I can empower globally all of these people, then they can go out there and they can rescue horses. And so he's the one, his name is Bodhi. He's actually my logo for everything. It's on here.
Yeah.
He's the one who inspired me to start getting out there. And then because of that, things just started developing in this way where I'm working more and more with people who have trauma. And it's really beautiful to see the lessons that my horses teach people. I am documenting everything because I am so excited. I cannot wait to prepare a book with all of these lessons because, yes, I facilitate them and I see their breakthroughs, but I'm getting a lot of aha moments as well myself. And there are some moments where I'm like, I could apply that lesson to my business, for example. Like, it's really cool. It's really cool.
So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight and you ran into the version of you right before you left LA to go to Poland, and you could give that younger version of you a piece of advice based on what you've lived, the wisdom you've accumulated, what advice would you impart on that young version of you?
I would say stop playing small. You're playing too small, too small. Listen to your gut even more, even more. You took that first leap and then it scared you, but listen to your gut even more because the impact that you have on people's lives is priceless. There's no words to it. This is something that you're going to paint about because it's so deep you cannot speak about this. And it doesn't matter. Leave those old beliefs behind, that it doesn't matter that you didn't get an A+ in English or history, because the creativity that you bring into the sessions with these clients helps them gain so much clarity. And you need to know that. You need to know how much power you have.
So, of everything that you've done in your life up to this point and accomplished and evolved to, what are you the proudest of?
The first thing that comes to mind, I'm thinking of a lot of things, but the first thing that popped into my mind was riding a horse again, because it was multiple doctors who told me that I'd never ride horses again, and I did it. And had I believed them, I would have stayed stuck in that pattern of, oh yeah, poor me. I'll never be able to ride. What is the purpose of living? Who cares? And I even got to that point where I was just like, I don't even want to live anymore. But I was such a vegetable that I couldn't even do anything about it. And I was just like, oh, see, you have no purpose. You can't even do anything. You can't even do that. You can't even end it. And I felt so useless, but I literally couldn't do anything about it other than lay there with it. And that was like a signal for me as well, which is something that I use in my sessions and in my coaching, to sit there with it, to sit there with those feelings, because then you're able to get clarity. Had I not gone so deep and gone through so much pain, literally be immobilized and need someone to wipe your butt, which is so embarrassing and humiliating, then I wouldn't have gotten that spark, that idea. Well, but can I train a horse from a wheelchair? And I typed it in. And so feeling those feelings, whatever it is, even those awful dark ones that make you want to not live anymore, ooh, has been really essential for me to skyrocket. So when I feel like shit, when I feel awful, I sit with it, usually with my horses if I can, if I'm nearby them, or my cats. But it's so interesting as well, because each of my horses has a different history. You know, they've lived through something different. And I specifically chose them because I wanted to see if my training methods at the time would be able to connect with different types of horses: young horses, old horses, abused horses, sports horses, heavy horses. Like, I wanted one of each just to try it out. And what's interesting to me is that they help me with a specific part of myself that I'm struggling with, a specific trauma. Maybe, like, for instance, my horse Suavne, the one that's famous, the one that I moved to Poland for, he really helps me with confidence and showing up in my power. Because when I am timid, when I am insecure, he doesn't want anything to do with me. He just walks away. And so I have to be creative in my energy and my sense of, like, no, we are doing this, this, this. And then he's actually attracted to me. Unlike another horse, crazy, because he's not highest up in the hierarchy. So when I go out there, it's interesting because all of the other horses give this horse that's lower in the hierarchy space to come and be with me. And he actually gave me a spiritual enlightenment, which was mind blowing. But when I'm struggling with depression, with self harm, when I hate myself, what am I doing? I'm a failure. I just, like, I don't want to be on this planet anymore. When I get into that pattern, that cycle of thinking, and I'm spiraling down, and I go out there, it's this one horse that comes to me. And so I know when I bring my clients out there, I don't really plan. We just walk up to the paddock, and I depends, but usually what I do is I open the gate, and whatever horse comes out, that's the horse that we're meant to use. But it's also a signal for me of the general area that we're going to be working on, because I know my horses so well and what
Yeah.
they've helped me with. Sometimes two horses come out, sometimes three horses come out, and I'm just like, okay, this is going to be an interesting session today.
Yeah.
And they just know where to go. They go to the riding arena. Usually we don't ride. 99% of the time we don't ride. We just work from the ground. And yeah, it's so much fun. It really charges my batteries.
So speaking of that, if anyone wants to learn more, reach out, any of the good business, where's the best place for them to go?
I am really active on Instagram. So I'm on Instagram every day. So reaching out to me in a private message there would be perfect. I also have a website called Heart Horse Experience. And I have an ebook on there as well. If you're just getting started, maybe you have a horse, or you have contact with horses, you want to go deeper into what is the meaning, then in this ebook and workbook, I have stuff outlined in there. And I also have a couple spots left for one-on-one coaching, which I do online as well. People think, how can you do that? It's possible.
Yeah.
We can hop on a call and I can tell them all about it and see if it's the right fit for them. I also have a webinar coming up on July 13th, which is Your Horse, Your Mirror, where we're going to spend 60 minutes going into how horses do just that, how they reflect where our wounds are and how we can heal them.
Wonderful. I will put all of those in the show notes. What a great, wonderful story. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Thank you.
Looking to get new clients to your business through cold calling or email marketing? At Agency Y, they envision a world in which small and big companies have equal chances to win new customers in the market. Their purpose is to bring parity and reduce the gap between large and small firms with the help of their cold calling and cold email marketing services. Use the code Joe Dimino 10 at www.agencyyyy.org/coldcallingjoe.php or www.agencyyyy.org/emailmarketingjoe.php to get 10% off your first order. This is Joe Dimino of Neon Jazz and Famous Interviews, and I stand behind Agency Y to meet your business dreams.